AI can't sew, but AI can create the image. Yes,
Yeah.
I do agree. There's a line from a song, and it's the shadows of the past draw near. And that's where I think of when I look at my work, is the shadows of the past are here. So, hi, is Misha Léonie Lynam, Tommy Ospion 3, Tommy Inagoni Opion 3. So the first one is that it is the god Isis bringing the souls of the dead across the sea.
So, before we really delve into your craft and exactly what we do, could you give everybody who's watching a look at the land and an overview of kind of where we are, what you do, and maybe what's led you to the point where I've contacted you and gone, do you want to have a chat? Like, what's the history of Léonie?
I am from Bantry. My workspace is in my home. I look onto Bantry Bay from my house, and then I look over the Cork and Kerry Mountains. And I always think when I'm looking on the bay, I'm looking at history because of the history of the bay and the surrounding area. I did archaeology as a mature student in UCC. And from there, I really took an in-depth look at our past. And I love what we have as a past. A visit to Newgrange is absolutely a must for anybody when they come to this country, or anybody who lives in this country. Because if you can see something that was created 5,000 years ago by us as a people, we predate the pyramids, and the technology that's within Newgrange and the craft to build what they built. We were a very civilized and advanced civilization 5,000 years ago. We forgot that. And we have forgotten it. We've forgotten how good we were at building. We've forgot how creative we are. We've forgotten the marks left in the stones. And that's where I take my art from. My art form is textile art. It's needle and thread. It's literally just me, my hands, and my history, where my mother taught me as a child. Her mother taught her, so it's something that's come down through the family. I've been embroidering all my life. Since I was about 7, I just love creating pictures. And then I went, and about 20 years ago, I decided I'd try cross-stitch because it just was a different medium. And I always bought kits. So I used to go online, find a kit, and I'd build it. And I did one piece that was 10 months in the making. It was 90,000 stitches. It was a beautiful deer because of the McCarthy and my maiden name, and the fact that the deer is the McCarthy crest. And it took me 10 months. Beautiful ornate piece. It hangs in my sitting room. And I was showing my friend who's an actual artist. He goes, why aren't you selling? And I'm like, I can't sell a kit. I can't sell somebody else's work. It's not me. It's not authentic. So he goes, and nobody's going to pay me for something that took me 10 months and I'm unknown. So I said, I have to start. And I just sat back and thought about it and thought, what can I do? And because of my history, archaeology, being an Irish speaker, and having that very Irishness, I will have to add, an appreciation of our past, because our past has made us. We can't rewrite it. It's made us who we are today. And we have to learn to live with that and grow from it as well. Everything that happened in our past has made us the people we are in this place, in this time. And I went about looking at what could I do, and I thought Newgrange, and I tried to figure out how to recreate the Newgrange symbol. Yeah. And I figured it out, and I did it, and that was my first piece, was Newgrange. And after that, then I went, oh, there is so much Celtic art out there. There is so much in stone, so much that needs to be remembered. And that's where I started my Celtic Threads.
So we're, of course, surrounded by an awful lot of your work, and I'll make sure that there's images up on screen. And you mentioned, obviously, about it preserving history, but are you also, as well as taking those ideas, the Newgrange symbols, and preserving them, are you also maybe creating your own images? Is it all from history, or are you maybe adding your own into this? Adding to history, should we say?
Am I adding my personality into things?
Are you adding your personality into things, and are you also creating maybe new shapes and symbols in the art?
I'm not creating new shapes and symbols. I'm taking the old and recreating it in a different way. I've just started working on a series of Rory Gallagher.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah. So I am taking his song titles and I am creating pieces around. I've done Moonchild, I have done Tattooed Lady, and I have done Shadow Play. And they're the 3 I've done so far. I'm now working on the concept of how I can do A Million Miles Away.
Right.
But
So
I'm taking, so I'm thinking always, what can I recreate? And the hardest part is getting it from here to here.
but that's exactly what I mean. So you've taken something still quintessentially Irish. It
Yeah.
might not be in stone, but it's still incredibly Irish. And
A great Corkman, well, Donegal man stroke Corkman.
we're in Cork. We'll call him a great Cork man. It's fine. And put that down in your own way. That's amazing.
So that's the idea, is to remember all our past, not just from 4,000 or 5,000 years ago, but all our past. Rory Gallagher is dead since the 1970s.
Yeah.
And he's part of our history as well. So we remember him as well to bring his music alive. The Rory Gallagher Festival in Donegal every year is just amazing to go to. And it's still packed out with people who go there.
As it should be.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, he was born there. He moved to Cork when he was 3, but he learned his music in Cork.
Yeah. And then, of course, you've got all of that. And we're talking a lot about history. And I do want to get back to your art, but I think now's a good time to maybe talk about your Irishness and the Irish language, because even from obviously us just having a chat before the cameras were rolling, it's obviously very important to you, your own history and heritage, and the language itself is incredibly important to you. How does that influence the history of what you do, your own art, and how important is it really, in your own words?
The Irish language to me, very important. It is part of us. It is, if you look at Ireland, what it was known for is a nation of saints and scholars. We have a way of describing things in the Irish language that is not capable of doing so in English. And while we speak English, the way we think and the way we interact is coming from the past, where our language is structured in such a way. So say, for instance, when in English you'd say, I am sad. When you're in Irish, you don't say, tá brón orm. And all it is, there's a sadness upon me. It's not there permanently, it's just upon me.
Yeah.
And it'll go away. So it's not a permanent condition. And I think there's the differences in how we say things. It's a colourful language. It's very descriptive. One word can mean so many different things, and I have made major boo-boos. I'm not a native speaker. I'm not bad, but I learned it more as an adult than I didn't grow up in an Irish-speaking area. And I have made some major boo-boos at places where people just laugh at the things I said. I said jumper instead of child. I said coffin instead of contract. And it's a matter...
I could see that one being very confusing.
Conra and Conra. Okay. Coffin, contract. So I have made major boo-boos, but I think it's very important to us as a people that we remember our past. Tír gan tanga, tír gan anam. Padraig Pearse's quote, a country without a language is a country without a soul.
But that's obviously, everything you're saying really, for me, seems to lead back to preservation of Irishness, history, and heritage.
Yes, but inclusiveness as well. It's not just about preserving who we are. It is, but it is also about explaining and teaching others about it. It's not just about being Irish. It's very important to me, yes, but I live in a multicultural society where we are all inclusive with all creeds and all colour. It doesn't make a difference. As long as you're born in this island, you're Irish. I don't care what colour your skin is.
And I assume you'd like for there to be in, 50 years' time, somebody continuing to do what you're doing that is continuing to kind of uphold the tradition, but with things that are happening now as Ireland becomes even more diverse and more things happen. You've obviously Rory Gallagher from the
Gallagher
from the 70s there.
Yeah.
You want somebody to be doing that in 50 years' time with what's happening now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we have to preserve our past, but we have to move forward. And I just like the idea of bringing it from the past. My work is all Bánín, right? The colour Bánín is cream.
Yes.
Right. Bánín is the Irish word for it. Aran jumpers were always knit in Bánín wool, which is wool in its natural state undyed.
Yes.
So it's that I always do this, right? When I talk about it. My father used to keep sheep, and we used to shear the sheep and the wool, and there was always the oils in the...
So it's a very specific feel.
Yeah, I do it. I can't not do that. But when I'm actually sewing, I'm using that colour. It's the past that's in my head because it's a colour from my childhood.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and the black then is because it's in the past, it's dark. And the Bánín is in contrast to what's in the past. So that's why all my work is near enough that color on black.
That's beautiful. That's such a good idea. And you have, even without having it in your hands, you have this tactile sensation. You know what that feels like.
I can smell this sheep's wool.
And like you say, like it's very much history in
it's
your hand.
my past coming forward, I suppose. It's leaving a mark for my own grandkids and the next generation that I have to say, though, my daughters can't sew.
They can speak Irish, but they can't sew.
I think I missed the boat on passing it down to the next generation.
You have to teach somebody.
I'll have to teach somebody.
So we spoke there about, obviously, history, heritage, all the way, you know, a huge expanse of time. But let's focus in on that kind of Newgrange period, the symbols that you're using, that you're taking inspiration from those. So those are hard stone carvings, and you're taking that idea and putting it onto softer textile, basically. Is there a part of your process, or even when you first started and you're doing that really struggled to get that idea across, this strong stone element, and then you're making it into a soft fabric? Was there a part of like a juxtaposition there? Was it deliberate? Is there...
Well, the choice of color was deliberate.
Yeah, like,
very deliberate. Yeah. That was very deliberate. But my challenge was to take it from my brain into my hands onto a piece of textile. And that to me was the biggest challenge, to get the curves, the circles. And it's a slow, methodical thing to do. It's stitch by stitch by stitch. But then again, they didn't carve things overnight either. All those carvings took time and care and attention to form. So I think I'm reflecting that in my work because it does take a while.
Yes.
But Newgrange is one, but one of the ones I've done a lot of my work on, I don't have any here with me, is a stone outside Bantry. It's the Kilnaroan stone.
Okay. Beautiful
stone, but it's carved on both sides. And I've done a lot of work with that as well, that particular imagery, because it's actually only a kilometre from my house.
Beautiful. Yeah. But that's very interesting that like the time is a key part of like that reflection. I suppose the obvious question is, how long does it take you to do these things? I know it's stitch by stitch, but you mentioned you did a 9,000 stitch.
90,000.
90,000, sorry.
90,000
I'm underselling you massively. So what's your, I suppose, for a piece like this, like what would be your kind of time frame to do a smaller piece like
I can only stitch about 150 stitches an hour.
Okay. That's, wow.
That's slow. Yeah. It's methodical. Yeah. So you can see where 90,000 stitches took 10 months.
Yeah.
So it depends on the complexity. The straight lines, I can go faster, but when you're having curves, you have to be more methodical about making sure you're getting the shape and counting it correctly. Because I do create patterns before I stitch.
Okay.
So I'm not taking this from my brain and just sewing. I am putting it in and creating a pattern first to sew from. But it is slow and it is methodical and it is my wind down. It is my time of reflection. I have a day job, which is
intense.
Intense, to say the least. Yeah, I love it, but it's intense. So I find that this is the way I can take my brain out of my job and I can allow myself to focus on one thing because I can only focus on one thing. And it slows my day down as I'm stitching bit by bit. Yeah.
So is that a case of, I suppose, because you do have your day job and it's a way to wind down, do you worry less about the business side of it? Of course, you sell your work, part of the West Cork Collective, and is that just a bonus or a benefit, or is that something you really kind of focus on as a business as well?
I love the creating side.
Yeah.
And I really should focus more of it as a business as well. I do have a website, I have my Instagram, but I am really bad about updating it, which is I need to get better at. But I do find it hard to juggle the full-time job, the creating, and then having to do all the business side as well. Because there's a lot of work in it.
There is.
Outside of even just putting one item on a website. By the time you picture it, do the descriptions and all the SKUs and everything else to get it up there. I wish I had more time in the day, but 12 hours work a day is enough.
That is enough. So I'd say at the moment, it's something that it is a business, but because it's not your full-time job,
No.
you're okay to
Let
use
it
it as
trickle
downtime
along.
and let it just...
It's my retirement plan.
Okay.
That's what I keep saying to myself. I wanted to have enough establishment that when I retire, I have something that will keep me occupied on a full-time-ish basis.
Yeah.
Because I can't see myself being the idle person who will just sit around and
You
do class
don't-
after class
you
after
don't
class.
strike me as an idle person.
To do class after class after class. You know, that's not my thing. But I wanted something that was mine as well and an expression of who I am. And I found it. So I'm really happy doing it.
Amazing. And it's something that nearly every creative I speak to says the same thing, is that they love creating, and most of them have found the thing that they love. But the idea of it being a business and having to update a website and sell these things, they're just pulling their hair out. That I don't want to do this. I just let me do my thing.
I think I'd be fine if I had more time to do it, because I am business focused. So I do have, a business background, but it's the timing. There's not enough hours in the day.
There is definitely not. I can confirm that. Well, I suppose then I mentioned there the collective. Can you maybe give a little insight into what the collective is and kind of maybe why it's important to what you do at the moment as part of your business?
At the moment, the West Cork Collective is one of my few outlets for myself. I did get accepted as a member for Cork Craft and Design as well in the mills in Douglas.
Okay.
But I still haven't got my space in the shop. It takes a while because it goes in a rota. But whereupon I'm constantly, I have my space inside in the West Cork Collective. And it was an amazing concept that Rebecca came up with it's just over a year since the collective opened. And there's about 60 creatives, artists, photographers involved. There's two spaces. There's the front space, which is the retail, and then gallery space in the back. I started off as a gallery member, and I kind of keep going. I got promoted to the front. But yeah, so I have my own dedicated space now in the gift shop.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So that's where I suppose we should at some point at least take time to promote where people can find your work and buy it. So we've got the website, which I will put on screen,
Yeah.
Instagram, and if people want to see it physically, if they happen to be in West
Cork Collective in Ballinspittle, but I also have some pieces in Bantry Tourist Office.
There we go. So if anybody happens to be around those areas,
Wandering,
buy some stuff.
Yeah.
So we've obviously spoken there about where people can find your work and about Instagram being social media. And is this something that's important to you and your work, or do you find it a bit odd? Because I'm struck with your work more than almost any other person I've spoken to. This juxtaposition of here is this art that's fully based on the history of Ireland. It's about capturing history, and yet the only way to get it out there for people to see it is very modern and digital. Do you feel that, or is it just something you entirely embrace, that this is modern, this is how it's done, and you can put the two together?
Well, it's part of life. I mean, social media is part of life. I was new enough to Instagram. I've been on Facebook, one of those early adopters back in the 2000s. Only recently, well, I suppose in the last year or so, since I started my own Celtic Threads, that I started embracing Instagram. It can be a chore because it's a new skill. And it's not necessarily a chore, it's the skill. So when I'm putting up a piece, I always put up the story behind it. So I don't just put up the piece in isolation. There's always a story at the background. Even if it's a triskel, something simple, just to give the meaning behind the triskel symbol itself, the meaning of life, past, present, future. For a woman, it's the 3 stages of a woman's life, maiden, mother, and crone. I believe I'm in the crone part now. But it's all about giving the history as well. And it's not just about the picture, it's the story behind it. So I use Instagram. I have my own website. It's the way to do business. It's the only way you're going to reach anybody outside of your own area. You have to embrace it.
Yeah, so it's quite simply a case of you have to embrace it. And we spoke earlier, like obviously I had an idea that I wanted to ask you about this anyway, social media, but you already mentioned earlier about this idea of bringing people together and also bringing kind of ages together. I mean, literally, like, different ages of time together. So this really does seem like something that you're just happy to embrace and go
Absolutely.
along with.
Yeah, I work in technology as well, so I have to.
Perfect. So the obvious next step after social media and embracing the digital world, the modern world, is to talk about AI, because it's such the opposite end of the spectrum to what you do. But there are those that would argue that AI can generate a perfect image that is what you're doing. Whatever, a traditional Irish piece of imagery, the AI can take that and it can recreate it, and it can do it in seconds. And we've spoken about you doing pieces that take months and months on end. So I'm kind of just interested in your opinion on AI being able to do that, people's opinions around that, and how you view it yourself. Is it something that you would ever consider adopting, or is it very much the antithesis of your work?
AI can't sew, but AI can create the image. Yes,
Yeah.
I do agree. It's a tool. It's something that we can either embrace or get left behind. It's like any technology. Either you go with it or you get left behind. And staying the same is actually falling backwards. Just keep doing what you're doing all the time. You're actually falling behind because the rest of the world is moving on.
Mm.
I joke about RI and AI. RI is real intelligence. That's what we have.
Yeah.
It's artificial. It's only pretend.
Yeah. So true.
It's pretend. Anything artificial flowers are pretend flowers.
That's very true.
But artificial, but it's a tool that you have to embrace. I use AI because I have an image up here that I know I want to see, but I can't draw it. I'm not a great drawer. So I have to create the image somehow. So I use AI to create an image.
So you're using it to take
I
the
tell
idea
it
out of your
specifically
head.
what I want to see. It gets it about 50% right, but all I need is that straw man that I can build on. And then I'll draw the rest of it myself when I have the kind of the form and the shape.
Yeah, you need it to come along and give you an outline, basically, just because it's something that it's not your strong suit.
I have two sisters who are amazing artists. They can draw, they can paint, they're fabulous, but not my forte. But so I know my limitations.
But as you say, AI can't sew.
No.
So as far as you're concerned, I would imagine your work is still irreplaceable. Like the AI cannot handcraft the work that we're looking at here.
It can't. It can tell the story, but it can't really tell the story. It can speak. It can do all those things, but you'll always know it's not a real person talking because the intonation's not there. The way we speak is so different to AI can't replicate the way Irish people speak. Half the time it doesn't understand what we're saying.
I have I've got family members who would try and speak to even not advanced AI, but like Siri. And Siri's like, try that again?
Or my 5-year-old grandson and Alexa. What's wrong with her? She can't understand me.
So, yeah, I completely get that. And it doesn't have all those elements. And for me, the thing that kind of stands out with you, at least, is the story that you told me, the history that you've told me, and the fact that you can literally feel the fiber in your hands. You can feel the history in your hands. That's something that an AI is never going to be able to replicate.
No, it can't. It won't ever. It won't be. My work is not perfect. So there were imperfections there. And while I try to be perfect, there's always somewhere that it's a line out or got the X the wrong way or something, because I try to keep them all the same. But I'm not perfect. My work isn't perfect. It is who I am. There's a little blemish every now and again. Little blot in the copybook.
Something goes wrong every now and again, yeah.
You adapt and overcome.
But it's interesting you say that. I made a video recently for this very channel. It wasn't an interview, it was an individual video where I was speaking about this concept of people being imperfect and people getting things wrong, and how that's even more important now, because AI can generate perfect images of things. It can create perfect replications of things. And it almost feels even more important now to be flawed and to have things that are wrong so that people can see that and recognize that it's you.
It's RI, not AI.
It's right. It's all right. There we go. So we're kind of going to come towards the end of our conversation here, I think. But there's a couple of things that I want to touch on. The first one is very simple. Do you have a favorite piece or a favorite thing that you get to create?
My favorite piece definitely would have to be my 90,000 stitches Deer in Woodland, which is from the McCarthy deer, being McCarthy my maiden name. That's my favorite piece.
And that's one you're not going to sell. That's
funny enough. My husband keeps selling me that, and I'm thinking, no, I don't want to sell it. But if somebody gave me 10 grand, I might. But no.
How do you put a price on those things? Like something that has taken you 10 months of your time and you've poured your heart and soul into. It's not a case of it cost me €1 for the wool, and you know what I mean? That's not how you price these things. How do you put a price on that?
Well, that one was not my design, so that will never be sold as my design.
Yeah.
That was something I built for me. It hangs in my house. I'm very proud of it. It's what started Celtic Threads. It will never be sold. So, favorite pieces out of what I actually do have, I have some small pieces I like. I love doing Triskells. I really love the flow of those. I love doing the ones from the Kilnarone stone because there's a boat on it, and it got 3 different stories to it. And I'll briefly tell you the 3 stories.
We've got time. Go for it.
So it's called the Bantry boat, right? It's actually a boat at the bottom of the Kilnarone cross. They think it was a cross, but all that's left is this pillar in the middle of a field. And there's 3 stories around the boat, and there's one I really love. I'll keep that to last, right? So the first one is that it is the god Isis bringing the souls of the dead across the sea. The other one is that it is a replica of St. Brendan's boat that went to America before Christopher Columbus. And the third story, which is my favorite, is it is the boat of Cesar. Now, Cesar was a granddaughter of Noah, who wasn't allowed on board the ark and built her own flotilla of boats and set to sea with 4 boats, 4 ships in her flotilla, and each boat had men and women on board. They landed in what's called Dunamark, which is the landing of the boat, which is Dunamark and Bantry, and that's where history comes. They landed there. Only one ship survived the 7 years at sea, and they came ashore with 50 women and 4 men. You can see where this is going now, can you? Right. So, one died from exhaustion, no idea why. One went doolally, and the other fellas had a great time.
That's a fantastic story. I've never heard that before.
So that's the Bantry boat. That's one of my, because the story behind it, I love the fact that there's 3 different interpretations of the story. So, yeah.
You can use any of them that you please.
I prefer the last one.
I definitely prefer the last one. It's very, very good. Oh, dear. And I suppose that does lead on to what I wanted to speak about last, which is very much the heritage of what you do and its long-lasting impact. That story from that cross has been there for generations. Like, you know what I mean?
Theirs is the 6th century.
Yeah. So that is huge. Is that what you hope for your work, or do you see yourself more of a custodian of existing works?
There's a line from a song, and it's the shadows of the past draw near. And that's where I think of when I look at my work, is the shadows of the past are here. And it's actually a song, it's the song Bantry Bay.
Okay.
Sorry, I keep going back to Bantry, but
that's quite all right. Like, but that's where you've got to.
I was born in Bantry. People don't say that anymore because there's no maternity hospital there.
There's no hospital now.
But it's the shadows of the past draw near, and that's what I'm bringing. Is I always look at my work and I think of the dark and that's the shadow coming through because the cream isn't it isn't impactful. It's just a color it's like a shadow, but it's in reverse. It's not black.
yeah.
It's a white one so the shadows of the past draw near. I like to think that I am reminding people of where we came from, what made us who we are, and to keep that in mind as we move forward and not lose our stories, our folklore, our myths and legends. I have a whole series done as well. I don't have any of it here with me. Around the legends, I have Tír na nÓg, Children of Lir, Salmon of Knowledge, and the Hounds of Cuchulainn. And they're stories that my grandkids wouldn't have known, only for the fact that I sat down and read them. Now, they probably would have read them in school, but they're real now and they see them in my house. And they're the kind of things I don't want us to forget. It's the stories that came from our past. We all learned them in school. I don't know if they're being taught anymore or not. But the Children of Lir, I love that story. It's really sad, but I love that story. And there's history that the Children of Lir are supposed to have been buried in Alahis on the Beara Peninsula. And there is a stone somewhere in Alahis, just outside the village, where they're supposed to have been laid to rest. Other people claim they're up in Mayo, but we'll want them down in West Cork, obviously.
We'll say they're in Alahis.
But it's not a preservation of the past. It is, because each of my pieces in the back, the story, I always have the story in the back. So say, for instance, this is the 4 seasons, right? So these aren't the traditional seasons that you would have spring, autumn. These are the Irish seasons. So Imbolc is the 1st of February. So the Celtic New Year started on the 1st of November. So Imbolc is the 1st of February, that's spring. Bealtaine is the 1st of May, that's summer. Lunasa, 1st of August, that's autumn. And Samhain is the 1st of November, that's winter. And Ia Nahauna, which is Halloween now, that actually was the Celtic New Year's Eve. On the back, I have a description of what they are. So people can see that it's not just the front, that the history's there as well. So we're passing on. Because to me, summer begins on the 1st of May. It does not begin on the 1st of June.
Yeah, because that is the history.
We lived by land. We slept when it was dark. We worked when it was light. The longest day of the year is the 21st of June, midsummer. So I can never figure out why the 1st of June happens and midsummer is 21 days later. But even I love the holiday of, not Christmas, but the winter solstice, because that is a really, really beautiful time in the Celtic calendar. I love the Celtic way of life. I would wish that we were more in tune with our surroundings than we are. Our people knew it before. They knew exactly. They lived by the seasons. They didn't live by the clock. We live by the clock now.
We do.
We live, I mean, our circadian rhythm, we're told to get up at the same time and go to bed at the same time every night. That's grand until it's really, really bright outside and you're trying to sleep at 9:30. But we've lost an awful lot of our knowledge around our surroundings. We've forgotten. We go to the supermarket and buy blackberry jam and our hedgerows are full of blackberries.
Yeah. And I suppose your work, your art is maybe a little reminder as well. Just a little reminder of, okay, we firstly, we have this, and also just let's not forget.
No, don't forget, because if we forget, we're gone. Yeah. In a modern world. And, you know, the Irish, we're all over the place. We immigrated ourselves. I've done it twice. Keep coming home. But to think that there's 40-something million people in the world hold Irish passports. We're an island nation of 7 million.
Yeah, very much everywhere.
We're all over the place. Yeah. But yeah, we can't forget the past because it made us who we are. So, hi, is Misha Léonie Lynam, Tommy Ospion 3, Tommy Inagoni Opion 3. Hi, I'm Léonie Lynam. My maiden name is McCarthy, hence the Nichoric. I live in Bantry. I am a textile artist and I use the medium of cross stitch on black to tell a story from the past.